that made more sense for some people. Okay, so I'm Inti and I work at Vidacycle and we make apps for farmers focused on regenerative farming. We actually have two apps, one that's focused on vineyards, which is the one that I'm not going to talk about today, and then SoilMentor, which is what I'm going to talk about today, which you guys are using as part of the Create course, which is really exciting that you're all doing. Yeah, we've been working with Nicole for a few years. I'll tell you more about that a bit later, but she's actually helped us build out part of the platform. And Soil Mentor really is there to be a tool for you to help collect data, photos, and observations in the field in a very simple, user-friendly, farmer-friendly way. Works offline, and all of that data can then be synced up to an online platform where you can start to do some analysis, look at trends, and try and understand what it's telling you. Sort of compare different fields or paddocks and learn from that data. And I'd say for me, really, it's a super, super simple app that should be really easy to get going and to use. But I think it's always nice to give a little bit of an intro and a background and like show people some of the features that maybe you might not notice when you just use it on the Great Course, or you might just be like, okay, what do I need to do today? But then there's also a few extra things that can be really useful. And Soil Mentor's used all over the world by organizations and consultants that are working with multiple farms, as well as by individual farmers. So farmers just go on our website and or buy the subscription to the app if they're interested in tracking their soil health and learning about it themselves. And also, obviously, on courses like this where there's lots of people interacting, and then usually you all use one account, which is what you've got. And one key part really of Soil Mentor for farmers that want to learn more about their soil health and want to sort of start on that regenerative journey is that it's very much also a learning tool in that there's a lot of information within the app about what some different tests that you can do are, how to make those observations, and lots of information that I'll show you. I'll share my screen, my phone up in a minute, and we can go and have a look at that a little bit. But the part of the platform that I think is sort of really powerful and starts to help you and starts to help farmers really think about their results and what they can learn from them. We've called the Regen Platform, and that was developed in collaboration with Nicole. And really, what that does is it builds in some considerations and some questions that Nicole would ask herself if she had a result for 10 regen indicators, so for 10 different indicators, if she had a result like the one that you're seeing. So based on your bioclimatic region of the world or your biome, the soil texture, the rainfall level within that biome, and whether it's grassland or cropping, basically, or arable. We pick out some questions that Nicole might ask herself and sort of present those to the platform, as well as compare it to some regenerative scientific benchmarks. So that's the part that, pardon, that's a part of the platform that Nicole has really, yeah, we've collaborated on and we've really built with her. So I'll show you that as well. And then the other thing I wanted to say is that hopefully you all should have got an email with a link to log in, to set your password. If anyone is having trouble logging in or hasn't been able to, you can stay on at the end of the call and we can just sort that out. Okay, so first, the mobile app. Let me just share my screen. And while I'm doing that, as I said before, there's two parts to the app. There's the mobile app, which is really, really focused on in-field data collection. You can see some history and you can see a bit of the data there, but really it's not focused on analysis. It's focused on making it as quick and easy as to collect the data. So we'll look at that first and talk through how you might go and gather some observations when you're out in the field. And then afterwards we'll look at the online platform where you can start to see that data and start to aggregate it and see trends and look at the region dashboard. Okay, so share screen. Okay, so if you have managed to log in and download the SoilMentor mobile app, basically you'll see something a little bit like this. Maybe not quite, because I've just added this field, which is a field near me, just so that we can have a little field to play with. Okay, so you can just see I've just added a test site. But if we come to the list of sites, in here you'll see the list of all of your names, and we've created 3 test sites for all of the students on the Create course. And yeah, I'll talk about those in a second. But basically, there's 2 levels of information in SoilMentor. There are the sites, which are like areas that are managed in a similar way. And then you've got your sample locations, which we haven't created any here yet, but we'll create a sample location inside this test site just now. And the sample locations are the locations that you're going and digging a soil pit and looking at soil structure, counting earthworms, making a visual evaluation of soil structure, and that type of thing. Okay, so if I just create on my test site, let's just call this sample 1. Oh, let's get the LAN. And so now it's going to ask me if I want to set the location. And so I'm just going to say yes, because I want to set the location. So usually I'll be out in the SIP field and it'll center directly on my location. But right now I'm just going to say, this is where I want this sample to be. And the idea with putting the samples on the map is that they're places that you're going back to monitor. So next season or next year, or depending on your monitoring regime, you'll want to go back to within a few meters of that sample location. Okay, so that just puts that GPS pin on the map so that you can go back to that sample. Okay, so really, I think I've explained the samples and the paddocks, and we've created a sample location. Okay, yes. So as I was saying, there's 2 different levels of data. Most of the sort of soil health observations are within the sample location. So if I just click on this sample, and I can navigate through the map now that I have this sample geolocated. But at the beginning, before you've drawn the maps, you have to come to the sample locations tab or to the sites tab to find your fields or your samples. Okay. But I'm just going to go through here, click on the label, and then here I can see the list of all of the different observations that I can make at this sample location. So, for example, I can just make some general notes if I want to. That's just something that I've noticed that I just wanted to make a note about. But really, I'd say what's more interesting to start with are the regen indicators. And so these are the 10 indicators focused on your regenerative journey and on the health of the soil that, that Nicole basically picked as different aspects of soil health that can sort of start to tell you a picture of where you are and how you're evolving and progressing on your regenerative journey. Many of these, many people have heard of. Some people know how to do them better, or not, maybe not quite so clear on them. So into SoilMentor, there's baked in instructions. So if we look at, I don't know, nodulation of legumes, many people know what those are, but maybe not how to score them or what we're actually looking at. So we can come in here, nodulation of legumes, and on the title there's a little info green eye there. And if we click on that, we can see what it's used for. So it tells us what they are at the beginning, a bit more detail about how the scoring works and how we want to score this, what equipment we need, and then step-by-step instructions of how to do it, and any considerations of like if there's particular seasonality or if there's anything that you want to keep in mind when you're doing this test. And so there's the reminder of how to do this. So basically, we pull up some roots of some legumes, a legume, and look at the nodules, and then we decide how we score it. And so let's just say that I've pulled up a pretty nice looking root, and I've decided I'm going to score it as a 1.5. Nodules across the root profile. If I wanted to add any notes, obviously I can add notes or photos to any activity. But the thing that's really important, I would say, is always to add photos. So obviously this is just my slightly sorry looking plant on my desk. So I can just take that photo, add that there, and you can see how easy it is to add photos to any of the observations. And if you want, you can add multiple photos if there are different aspects that you want to record or show. And what's really nice, especially in a situation like a course situation where there's a few of you adding data to the same account, is that it's nice to be able to share to see what other people are recording. And on the online platform, you'll be able to see everyone's results all together. And you can jump into the photos and start to compare and sort of use that as a conversation starter as well. So if I just hit save here, I've got a little tick on the right that just says, at this sample location, I've recorded nodulation of legumes today. And so maybe that I then want to go and do some of the other tests. The other tests are very similar in structure. So maybe earthworms is a little bit different in that here you're recording a number rather than choosing from a drop-down list of options. But then this is, again, let's say I've got 12 earthworms. I take a picture. If I wanted to, I could come in and see what does it mean? How big a space am I counting earthworms in? So this is spade width, basically 20 by 20 by 20. Any considerations? Like, best not to count earthworms in the middle of winter or the middle of summer, obviously. And yeah, that information is there. So I can just click save, and that's basically the way you add data to your sample locations. And I've just talked about, say, the regen indicators in general, but as you can see, there's various other measures. I'm not sure exactly which ones you'll be focusing more on the course, but I know that is it Grizzly Creek? Yeah, you guys will be, I think, starting to use SoilMentor and taking some observations there. But I think, I'm not exactly sure, but I think also then the idea is that afterwards you guys can sort of use some of your paddocks or sites and do some monitoring and just like follow and see how that goes a little bit as part of the learning journey. Any questions so far? All good?
I'm not entirely sure. Oh, hello, I'm Kate
Hello.
from Australia.
Okay.
Hi, Inti.
Yeah.
Inti. I'm not entirely sure. I couldn't get the drop down to work on my device. Is that because I haven't entered a site yet? Like the regen indicators drop down wouldn't come up. Is that just because I don't have a site in yet?
So basically you've got sites, but you don't have sample location. And all of the regen indicators are done at a sample location.
Okay, so I
And so,
need to add a sample location before I can. Yeah,
yes.
got it. And with the
Um,
sample location
yeah.
to get the exact spot in the map,
Yeah.
am I just dropping a pin roughly where I think I am, or is there a more scientific way to get that pin to be exactly
So
where I am?
when you're out in the field,
Yes,
basically, so if I just go and do this again, I'd come to sample locations, go add, I'm going to add another one to my site,
yes,
sample two, and then hit save, and then it'll say, do I want to set the location? And I'm going to say yes. You can always update the location later, but basically, do you see here it's centering on my location? So I'm at home
oh,
in a little village
okay,
in Spain. So the idea
yes,
is that you do this when you're out in the field, and if you've got sky above you, you'll have a slightly better pinpoint of the GPS, and it'll
yes,
center on your location a bit more accurately.
okay.
And then when
Thank you.
you're
I
putting
didn't
up the
quite
field,
catch
that
that bit.
phase, yeah, all good. And so
I was
let's
trying
say
to
that I
maybe do it in a paddock far away, and then it
just
wasn't.
yeah, so that's tricky for sure. So I'd say the first time you go and sample, it's worth doing that when you're out in the field. And then after that, you then have that on the map, and that's like the place that you're going back to.
Thank you very much for showing me.
But so within this sample, I just saved that location, which is where I am at the moment. You can come to this map tab. At the moment I was on the add screen, and here you can see the map. And if I wanted to, I can just update the location. So come back to add location, and I can just see there was the old location, and I actually want this to be up here somewhere. I'm going to create a sample point just over here, let's say. So you can update it and move the locations. Okay. So now if I just go to the main map, you'll see I've got these two samples. And so you've reminded me, the other thing I didn't mention here is that at the site level, I can also click through into the site, and I can do that just like before on the map, or I can go through here and click on a test site. The drop downs of what I can observe at a site are much simpler. And basically, it's either biodiversity observations. So if I've seen a particular animal or bird that I want to log, or lab results, which are here at the site level, but you won't actually add them through the mobile app because that's more if you send a sample off to the lab and you get some soil lab results, you get a PDF back. You'll add that. I'll show you afterwards on the online platform where you can add the PDF and it can extract all those results for you. So they're just in here just so that you can sort of see the history of them. So almost all of the data recording that you'll do will be at these sample locations. And so here you can see sample one, I've recorded 2 activities today, so there's a little tick with this 2. If I go back into that sample, I can click on history. So here I can see what I've recorded. So I can click back into this. If I made a mistake, I can correct it. Or I can just come and have a look. At the sample, there's also some details. So if I wanted to write a description of what that sample was representing or why I was taking it there or add some extra information about that, I can. And then it's also important for the Regen Platform benchmarking to look at the soil texture and set it as light, medium, or heavy for that sample. So the first time you go out and have a look, it's like, are these clay soils or are they sandy? And just as a broad categorization, the soils light, medium, or heavy. And that will help us afterwards in the benchmarking. What else do I need to say here? Oh yeah, so all of the data that you add can be edited either through the mobile app or can later be edited or deleted through the web app as well. So don't worry too much. You can, if you want to play around, add a sample site, add some data to it to just understand how it works. That's totally fine, and you can get rid of that later. Okay.
Can I just ask, are you adding the field through Google Earth or are you doing it through the app?
Through Google Earth. So
Yeah.
if you've got paddock boundaries, you can upload those basically on the web app, on the online platform. Okay, and so the last thing to say about the mobile app is that it's working completely offline. So the first time you open it, you'll need to sync and it will prompt you to do that. And now you can see at the top of my screen, it says 7 changes to upload, sync 20 minutes ago. And so that's just saying I've added some data on the mobile phone that hasn't been synced to the online platform. So just before we go and switch to have a look at the online platform, I'm just going to sync my phone and that will upload those new sample locations that I've created and the data that I've added. Okay. So I'm going to stop showing my phone screen and let's go to the web app. Okay. So if you search for SoilMentor on Google, you'll get to our site, or the address is soils.vidacycle.com. Vidacycle is our company name. And so here there's all the information about what SoilMentor is, which is, I mean, you can come and have a look. There's information about all the soil tests, which is all freely available for anyone, whether they use the app or not. You can come in here and look at the soil monitoring guide if you need to share that with any farmers or anyone else. But I'm just going to go straight in here and log in to the web app. Okay. And I've already logged into your account, so it's jumping me straight into the logged in view. And so you can see here, I'm on the same account. If I just jump to sites, you'll see we've got all these sites configured. If I come to sample locations, there are these 2 samples that I just created. And coming back to the home screen, here you can see just recent activities and recent data that's been added. So here you can see that I added, this was earlier that I added a soil lab result before the call, but I just added a 1.5 score for nodulation of legumes with my photo. And I can have a look at that. Zoom in a little bit if I want to. There's a GPS location of that photo if I wanted to just double check where that was taken. But sort of the simplest aspect of this is that all of this data is now on the mobile app. Oh, sorry, now on the web platform, and I can start to dig into it. If I wanted to come to the list of activities, I can always filter, just look at, say, my sites or specific date range that I went and recorded some data, or if I only wanted to look at earthworms, maybe I would just filter for earthworm activities. It's not going to be very interesting here because I don't have much data, but there's just a quick way to filter and view specific bits of data that you can then download into Excel if you want to do further analysis. But within the platform itself, there's a lot that you can sort of start to see. And I'm going to switch in a moment to the demo account where I've got a bit more data so that we can look at the Regen dashboard and look at some reports. But before I do that, I just wanted to mention that we've named all your sites as site 1, 2, 3. You don't have to keep them that way. So if you wanted, I'm just going to show you how you come in here. You can rename this Ashley's site, and she can just come in here and call it, I don't know, top field or whatever was relevant to her to help her remember which field or which paddock she was sampling in this case. And I'm not actually going to save that, but while I'm here, 2 other bits of information that are useful to add for all of the sites, which are actually, as you can see here, they're required for the Regen Platform benchmarking, are the land use. So that'll be usually cropping or grassland, or if it's a vineyard or agroforestry site, then vines or trees. And the rainfall level. And the rainfall level is a little bit trickier because it says high, medium, or low, and so we need to click on this Regen Platform benchmarking link. And so the rainfall levels here, you can see a high, medium, or low based on which bioclimatic region of the world you're in. So you'll first look here and say, okay, am I in, for example, I'm in Mediterranean forest, woodlands, and shrub. And so for Mediterranean forest, woodlands, and scrub, these are my high, medium, or low rainfall levels. Okay. Okay. So let me just switch out now. Do we have any questions before I switch to our demo account?
Do we include irrigation in that rainfall amount?
I would say no.
Okay,
but
thanks.
That's a question to ask Nicole.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is just another SoilMentor account. It's our demo account, and we've got, as you can see here, you can come to photos, and you'll see we've got lots more photos. So this is what your account will start looking like as you guys go adding data to it. And so here it can start to be interesting. Say, if I just want to look at earthworm pictures, I can filter and just see all of the different earthworm pictures, or I can just look at rooting depth pictures, or anything that might be interesting to compare. But I think the first thing to show you guys is the Regen dashboard. And so this is the dashboard that we built with Nicole. And so for each site and sample location here, you can see once you've set those regen classifiers that I was just talking about. So that's the land use, the soil texture, and the rainfall level. We can compare these results to some regenerative scientific benchmarks, basically based on those classifiers, as well as the biome. And so this is saying, say, for this site, my earthworms are looking pretty good, my infiltration rate is looking pretty good, maybe my reaching depth isn't that great. And all of these results I can click into. I can look at, say, this reaching depth 80%. Why is 25 centimeters not considered that good? Again, considering that this is grassland, medium rainfall, and light soil texture. Really, to be in a green region based on like our scientific benchmarks, it looks like we want to be at 40 centimeters or over. So that's interesting. And then also interesting to look on the right is how does my data, so my 25 here, compare to other people who have recorded data in SoilMentor that have, again, in the same biome and similar classifiers as me. So this is interesting because this is saying on the left, I'm not doing as well as I should compared to the science, but actually I'm doing a lot better than many of my peers. And so there's sort of two aspects to look at and to compare and to contrast. Often they line up very well. Occasionally, they don't, like in this case. And then maybe it's telling you that the scientific benchmarks might be a bit harder to achieve, or it just helps you sort of understand that result and dig into it a bit. And then as we go down, we can start to dig into this result. What does it mean to have roots that are considered not that long, sort of in the orange region of this chart? And this is where I think really the real power of the Regen platform is. Considerations sort of phrased as questions that Nicole would ask herself of how can I dig into and understand these results better? What might some factors that are limiting me be? Or what's some other tests that I can do to investigate further? So I don't know, just to pick out a couple, having a look at my roots and are they being eaten by insect pests? I don't know, would it make sense to aerate or add cover crops? Do I have some compaction? Yeah, why might I have some compaction? It's about like really starting to ask yourself those questions and really for farmers open up the conversation. And then you can scroll down here, look at the other key results for this site, or we can just go back to the Regen dashboard and look at a different site. And all of the results basically have a similar journey. So I don't know if we were to look at maybe this infiltration rate. Again, you can see what would be considered good infiltration rate for this bioclimatic region and classifiers. How do I compare with others? And you can see it's like a very similar structure, but with different questions and different benchmarks. And the idea is that you can go through and you can start to help you get some ideas and dig into those further. Okay. And then apart from that, if you come to reports, a few interesting reports in here are the field trends, which is where I can just draw some charts, do some basic analysis for any activity. So I'm just going to pick earthworms again, just because I know that there's some data. But I'm just going to say, okay, show me the average earthworms per field and for all time. And so here I can see for each of the fields how the earthworm counts has changed over time. And maybe something might make it worthwhile digging into and looking at like what did I do in Smithfield grass? How come that went up so much compared to the others? Or why is this one going down? Helps you ask some of those questions or dig into those. Or if I just wanted just a raw average to just see like, yeah, which fields I got better results on and worse results on, you can come and look at that in here. So there's all of these different analytics and charts that you can start to look at and play around with. And this becomes especially powerful once you've got a few different data points to see how your results are changing over time. The field report is also quite nice in that it lets you gather all the results that you've taken on a specific day at a specific site into a single report that you can then export to PDF. I don't know if I just picked this one, but there's actually not much data here, but it gathers your photos and the observations that you've taken. You can generate a PDF report, and that can be good to share with a farmer or someone else that doesn't maybe have access to SoilMentor. And then there's a few other reports that I'm not going to talk over, but you can come and have a look at. One thing that I did want to make sure that I covered was the lab results and attachments. So if you get, if you do some soil lab tests, I'm just going to add a soil lab result, and I'm going to add it to, should add it to B site. Let's see, I had this one saved here. This one. Okay, so I've just added this SoilLab result. We can just open it here a second. You can see it's fairly standard chemical analysis. And basically we've added a little bit of AI that helps us extract those values out of the PDF as numerical data, so that then those are stored all as numbers in SoilMentor. And once you've got a few different results, you can start to say, compare my different fields, look at the averages of my different fields, or start to trend that over time rather than opening two different PDFs side by side and trying to see like, how has my phosphorus changed or how's my nitrogen evolving? And so the way that works is we click extract data. This then uses a bit of AI to process that PDF and pull out those results, and it's just going to confirm, it's going to pull them out and show them to us, and ask us to confirm that we're happy with them, because as we know, AI isn't 100% perfect always, and it's about like keeping both sides of the conversation here. One is like, it's really nice not to have to type all these values in, but also we should double check them. So as you can see, it's pulled out all these results from the PDF. I'm not actually going to save this, but you can save this, and then they'll just be just like any other activity that we've added, as we would have added it through the mobile app, just as like values. Okay, coming to the map. All of these field boundaries, the question that you asked me before is, how do we draw them and how do we upload them? So if we come to the map here, the field boundaries need to be uploaded here. We are actually working on a feature right now, which I think will be released in the next few weeks, to let you draw the field boundaries here within the within the web app. So you could just draw them on Google Earth. But right now, we need a KML file. And basically the way you create the KML file to upload, there's step-by-step instructions here, but is in Google Earth. You draw a polygon in Google Earth and export it as KML, and then you upload it here and add that onto SoilMentor. And the instructions should be quite easy to follow. Because you need to open Google Earth, there's a few bits to do, and to double check that the field names that you give for your fields in KML match exactly the field names that you've got in here. So you just need to make sure that I'd come in here and I'd probably copy and paste them just to make sure that they match exactly. But that's the only thing that's maybe a little bit tricky of doing that through Google Earth.
You have to use Google Earth, or can you use another program?
You can use another program as long as it's a KML, and you can name the fields in the same way as they are on SoilMentor.
Okay.
And if you have got a KML file and you're having any problems with uploading that, do give us a shout and we can definitely help with that. Like if it's not working for any reason, okay? And then just lastly to say that here at the bottom of the sidebar, there's a help button which has got our email address. So if you have any questions, we're always super happy to help, as well as a lot of what I've talked about and lots more. So maybe what's the biodiversity report? You can come in here, it describes what the biodiversity report is. It shows you a little bit what it looks like, because probably if you guys look at it now, it will be empty because you don't have any data. Yeah. So you can come and start to see like, oh, is this something that I would like to record some data on? Is it something that's useful to me? And lots of other information about just how to use SoilMentor. So I think this is a really useful resource. And yeah, where basically we really want to support you guys to make sure that you're getting as much as possible out of the platform. And if you have any questions or we can help in any way, we're always really, really happy to help. And just to finish off, the thing that I mentioned at the beginning really is that we work with various types of farmers, organizations, and consultants. And if you guys, I don't know, now or in the future, feel like this is a tool that would be useful for you in consulting work or in other projects, then I'm super happy to talk through what that looks like and how different people use that, what the different subscriptions options are. Our individual farm subscriptions are available on the website, but more for consultants and organizations, that's not there. but you can come in here and have a look on our website, like single farm subscriptions if you wanted to as well. Okay, any questions? Yes, Kate.
Inti, I'm wondering, do you end up with a map of the whole farm and then where each paddock lies in that, or is just each site just have a map of that site, but no whole farm map?
So this is where it's a little bit different for something like the Create course, because on the Create course, you've got 3 paddocks each, and those are the
Yes.
paddocks that you'll be monitoring for the Create course. And they'll be all over the world probably. And so
Yes.
your map will be very zoomed out and maybe not quite as easy to use. But you'll need to because you can always jump to your current location. That makes it much easier. On the phone app, you can always click on my location and then it will zoom into where you are. But normally there's an account for each farm and you'll have all of the different paddocks for that farm.
Got it. That's what I can understand. And so the photo or the aerial photograph that we put up, the Google Earth image that we put up for each one is just one paddock or one area. Okay.
Monitoring site that you want to, an area that you're going to be monitoring.
Yes, got you. Okay.
And I think I haven't spoken in enough detail with the guys on the course to know exactly how throughout the course, how they're going to want you to use those. So that's something that's worth clarifying. Like, is it that they want you to monitor is it just like use this and sort of learn? Or is it more like, okay, look, we're going to all record data on a paddock, on 2 paddocks, and have some meetups and like talk about them and sort of see what we can learn and share our results. Because it's a really nice way also to like share remotely, especially when the people with results in different places in different parts of the world, you can open the account, you can say, oh, look, here's a picture from this field, and from the other side of the world, you can go and have a look and understand and comment on that. Okay, well, that was, I think, everything that I wanted to show you. Hopefully that felt nice and simple and quite easy. But if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch. And good luck with the course. I hope it goes really well. And I'm sure we'll see you around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Inti. Cheers.
Bye.